So there was a little bit of ragtime on my new Gypsy jazz guitar, and this is the Bigsound model made by the Dutch luthier Gerrit van Bergeijk. In English that would sound like Gerrit van Bergeijk. Please do open the video description. I put a lot of information there and useful links, otherwise the video would become way too long. Now, the Gypsy jazz guitar was Europe's contribution in the quest for a louder guitar in the early 30s. And it was a man called Mario Macaferri, a classical guitarist, a concert guitarist, a very good one, and also a luthier who developed this guitar. He was in London at the time and he came in contact with the Selmer company, mostly known for their wind instruments, but they wanted to start in the guitar department, and they made a deal with Mario Macaferri, and he, with all his great ideas, was the head of the department. He set it up, hired mostly Italian craftsmen, and did all the machinery, jigs, etc. And the first guitar he made was a classical guitar, and then also a Hawaiian guitar. And then Selmer said, you also have to make a jazz guitar. Now, Mario Macaferri was a classical guitarist, he didn't know much about jazz. And so he went to Paris to a jazz club. And afterwards he said, the sounds, the music I heard was like someone was holding a bunch of steel rods and banging them on the table. That were his words, honestly. And anyway, this kind of guitar came out after that. And let's go over the specs. All Gypsy jazz guitars, as far as I know, have a slotted headstock and a 0 frets, something really European. You won't find that much on American-made guitars. And the nut is, well, this nut is about 47 millimeters wide. Nowadays they are usually a bit less wide, about 44, 45. But in the days of Mario Macaferri it was also 47 or 48, I think. Classical guitar inspired, you could say. The fretboard was in those days very flat, and still is for most of the Gypsy guitars that I've looked at. But this one has a radius of 12 inch, like the Gibson guitars, Gibson acoustics. Martin has a radius of 16 inch. And which I think is a bit too flat for me anyway. A radius of 12 will give you some support when getting bar chords. Then the fretboard is unbound and ebony, and the neck is what we call, well, a shallow C, I think. A lot of Gypsy guitars have a very flat, squarish neck also, which can be handy if you play a lot of single string runs and don't have to fret chords often. 14 frets to the body. Originally there were only 12 frets to the body. And to give you an example, Django Reinhardt played from 32 till 37 on a D-hole guitar with a short scale and 12 frets to the body. This one has a short scale as well, 64 centimeters, which is about 25 inch and a quarter. And only in 1937, when Mario Macaferri already left the company for 5 years, they developed what we now call Le Petit Bouche, the guitar with a little sound hole. And that one has a very long scale, so it can endure the fierce attack of the Gypsy guitarists with their extremely thick flat picks. The cutaway was very unique for 1932. I think Gibson started only in 1939 putting cutaways on their L5 archtops. And it is very unique design. It's really straight down. The whole body of the, if you look at it, is very almost a square when you look at it. Then we have the oversized sound hole, and oversized sound hole will favor the mid-range and the treble. Maybe that's the reason why some people say, unjustified I think, that Gypsy guitars don't have enough bass. I don't think that's the truth. Anyway, maybe because it favors mid and trebles, that's a logical thing to think, but it's not the case, I think. Then we have a floating bridge. It's not glued, so if you remove the strings it will fall on the ground. And the typical tailpiece that takes ball end strings or with a loop end. About the strings, the Gypsy guitar strings are well made for this kind of guitar, and the brand Argentine is one of the most well known, and they are very light. Compared to a steel string, it's an extra light set. It starts with a 0-10, and they have a heavier set that starts with a 11. So very light strings. And also they have a steel core, but the windings are very fine silvery thread. So you could compare it with classical guitar strings when you feel it, or silken steel strings. The same feel, I think. Not as coarse as bronze or phosphor bronze strings. This D-hole is moved up slightly, so there's a larger top to vibrate and to produce sounds. The interior, all Gypsy guitars are leather braced, which explains their loud sound. And like the pre-war Stellas and Supertones, they are also leather braced. Gives a hard, loud sound. This guitar has also two extra braces that start at the back of the guitar and go straight up to here and here to reinforce the tailpiece area. Over time it's possible that because of the high pressure that you could create an S in your top, and that's something you do not want. These little things, they call them moustaches, are pure ornamental. They are glued with self-adhesive tape, and since if you change strings you could have to reposition your bridge, they will help you to get the right place. Now, most, I think pretty much all Gypsy guitars have laminated back and sides, even in the days of Mario Machiavelli in the early 30s. And when it comes to flat top guitars, that's something, well, cheapish, they say. It's not solid wood, it's laminated, it's no good, it has a cheap sound. No, the reason is to create a very stiff back and sides, so you have more projection. That's the reason for the laminated woods. This guitar has only a double side, so you see the maple from the outside, and in the inside is an extra layer of 2 millimeters to get the sides really sturdy. But the back is solid maple, European maple, and also European spruce. All the trimmings, I'm not sure if the camera will give you a fair view, but they are all done in the very reddish kind of wood, Pernambuc. Also the bindings on the back, heel cap. So, now, there's one thing more I should say. I'm not sure if it goes for every Gypsy guitar, but the top is slightly domed. In French they call it pliage. It's bent, not carved. And there's a picture somewhere on the internet of the tool that Mario Machiavelli invented. It's a sort of clamp with 3 bars, and they put the wood in and then they adjust it, and it will eventually have a slight dome, especially on the top, in the middle. This one has a very slight dome. If I would compare the sound between a flat top, a Gypsy jazz guitar, and an arch top, I think this kind of guitar is in the middle. It has some of the warmth of a flat top and some of the dryness, directness of an arch top. It certainly has less overtones than a flat top. Eventually on a flat top that will become one big sound, the strings all mixing together. Here you will, I think, the individual strings will come out more. Someone asked me also, why did you buy such a guitar? I'm mostly known as a country blues guitarist with well, some arch tops and some old guitars and some new. First of all, I like the comforts, the playing comforts. My hands are getting old, so that's a very big plus. I like the sound as well. Sometimes I think somewhat less overtones is preferable for some pieces. And I also like the Django solo material. Django recorded 17 solos, so unaccompanied, just him and his guitar. And you'll find in the video description some information on that. And I recorded also on other guitars some of those solos, and they are really, they're not easy, but they are fun finally when you master them to play. So I'll play a bit more and I'll give you some idea of how it sounds. How about some blues? How long, babe, how long has that evening train been gone? How long, baby, how long? let's end up with a little bit of a slow gospel groove. This is a mean old world to live in till you die. This is a mean old world to live in till you die. Without a father, without a mother, without a sense